very special guest tonight. Her name is Sadhvi, and she lives in Rishikesh, India, though she didn't originate there. We're probably going to get a little into her story and the amazing work she's doing in India, both spiritually and out in the world. I thought it would be nice, so since we have a little limited time this evening, that it be mostly about you. So I will sort of get things rolling with some questions to just get to know Sadhvi a little bit. But then we have a handheld mic here. And if you have a question, please raise your hand in a minute, and I will be glad to call on you and hand you a mic so everybody can actually hear you. That felt like we were in court. You know, people go to talk to the judge and have a little private conversation in public. Before we get to questions and answers, Sadhvi is going to lead us in a brief meditation. Sadhvi?
So, first of all, it's such a joy to be here, to be with you all. I love this place. I love Grace Cathedral so much. There's such a beautiful energy historically that has permeated into today and is growing and growing and growing. And so thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. Actually, before I go into the meditation, what I was saying to Darren is I think let me take a few moments and just give a bit of a foundation of where we're going tonight, and then we'll go. When we speak about the mind and meditation and ourselves, this for me is actually one of the most important topics because it pertains wherever you are. There is no place that you are not, and there is no place your mind is not. And there's a beautiful, beautiful teaching from the Bhagavad Gita that says, Man eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo. And what it means is the mind is the key. The mind is everything. Whether it leads you to bondage or whether it leads you to freedom. Most of us tend to blame so many other factors on where we are, whether it's our family members, whether it's our jobs, whether it's our financial situation, whether it's our health, whether it's our history, whatever it may be. We've always got something that we're able to point a finger at of why I'm suffering, why I'm not happy, why I'm not where I'd like to be emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in peace and love. And what that teaching reminds us and re-reminds us is, no. It's all about the mind. And so of course then the question becomes, well, so what to do with this mind? And several years ago I saw actually on the grassy lawn in front of a church in America a sign that said, watch your thoughts and you will see the future. Watch your thoughts and you will see the future. So now most of us tend to think of our thoughts as just things that happen. But actually, they are what are created. in front of you today, suddenly, my arms started flailing all over the place. And I said to you, well, don't worry about that. Just focus on my talk. These are just my crazy arms. You think there's something wrong with them. Or if I started, bouncing up and down like this or whatnot, I said, oh, don't worry about that. My legs just do that sometimes. They are like that. You'd think, well, something is wrong or she's crazy. We all understand very, very intuitively that our arms and our legs should be under our control. That they are what take us where we are going physically, that our arms and our hands are that which is doing what we're doing, whether I'm eating something, whether I'm touching you, whether I'm driving, whether I'm grabbing something, whether I'm pushing something, hugging something. It's my arms. But our minds, which are actually that which tells my arms and my hands what to eat, what not to eat, what to grab, what to push, what to embrace, that tell my legs where to go, where to stop. We tend to just say, oh yeah, my mind, it wanders, it goes here, it goes there, and we just let it go like that. And so what I want to spend some time tonight on is how can we really get this most precious of tools into our hands. Not as something outside of ourselves, not as something to do battle with. A lot of times we talk in a spiritual world about, conquering my mind or beating my mind or victory over my mind. And I try not to talk like that or think like that because remember, it's all inside of you. And so if you're waging war or battle on any part of the self, regardless of who wins and who loses, you're sleeping together in the bed at night. You're going to bed with that which you vanquished, that which you've conquered, that which you beat. It's all with us. And so rather than thinking like that, if we can think of simply creating enough space within ourselves, because what the mind does is it separates. It reacts. Last week I was taking a beautiful walk in the woods alone, and there was a family, a father, a mother, and some kids who were first ahead of me and then behind me on the path, and I noticed them as they were ahead of me, and a very sweet-looking family. And then they had stopped, and I passed them, and then they were behind me. And after a few minutes, I heard this very loud boo! And I heard screaming. And I turned around, and the father had kind of hidden in the bushes and booed his kids and played a joke, and the kids screamed, and then of course, they all laughed and made up. But for me, it was this incredible reminder in that moment of, wow, this is exactly what happens in our minds. Here we are moving along a path, peacefully, joyfully, in love, chanting our mantra, doing whatever we're doing, enjoying the sunshine or enjoying our family. And suddenly there's this boom. And we don't know what it is. We think it's something that it's not. We react, we jump. All of our physiological, emotional, psychological, mental experience of the moment changes. And that's the game of the mind. It reacts, it judges, it competes, it compares, and mostly what it does is it separates. And it separates us from our true selves, And it separates us from the world. The world to which we are looking to connect, with which we are looking to fall in love, with which we're looking to merge and melt. It separates us from that. And so I'm going to take you we'll go into a short meditation, and then we'll open it for questions. But as we do this, what I want you to think about, not actually during the meditation just be with me, but in your lives, what is it that we are holding on to? Because we know this. We know our mind is the thing that is playing tricks on us. We know it is our mind that is saying, you're not enough. You're stupid, you're ugly, you're not worthy, you're this, you're that. We know it's the game of the mind. We know it's the game of the mind that says, you don't have enough. You should have this, go there, look like this, have this job. We know this is the game of the mind. But what is it that keeps us so connected to it? Why is it that sitting down to meditate is something that so few of us make time to do? And if I say, okay, how many people here, raise your hand if you know that you really should have a practice of meditation? Great. Now raise your hand if you meditated this morning. So you'll notice that even though we had a wonderful, actually much higher number in the second than in many places, nonetheless, it was a very, very small percentage of the first. So what is it? If I said to you, 15 minutes a day, do this yoga posture. 15 minutes a day, blend yourself this shake. 15 minutes a day, go on this website. And you will find that your suffering will disappear, your health will improve, your vitality will improve. We make time to come to yoga, we make time to do what we need to do. What is it that makes the spiritual practice something so difficult for us to embark on? And I think a lot of what it is we're not too busy. That's the excuse we make. But we make time for that which matters. We have time for movies. We have time for Facebook. We have time for coffee with our friends. We have time for all of them. It's that on some level, there is a fear, I think, that if we become too spiritual, if we become too peaceful, if we connect too deeply, am I going to lose the excitement in my life? A lot of people say, well, God, I'd like to meditate, but I really like how my life is. Or I don't want to lose this joy. I don't want to lose the excitement. I don't want to lose what I'm having. And yes, I only have joy this much of the time, but nonetheless, if I become too spiritual, if I become too balanced, it's going to be boring. I'm going to have to give up some aspect of what I identify as. And this is what I want us all to think about today as you go home, tomorrow morning when you wake up, is what aspect of who you are, what aspect of your history, your identity, your personality, your emotions, your fears, your desires, your conditioning is worth more to you than peace, is worth more to you than joy, is worth more to you than ending the suffering of the mind. Interestingly, there is a beautiful line also in the Bhagavad Gita that says yoga is the cessation, the ending of the union with suffering, with pain. Now this is really interesting because yoga means union. So we're usually thinking yoga means to unite with this, to unite with that. Yoga is the cessation of the union with pain. When I do yoga, when I connect deeply with myself, with the divine, I break that union with suffering. I break that union with pain. So what is it that I am holding on to so deeply? That I'm afraid to let it go. And it's nothing bad, it's nothing wrong, but it's a beautiful entry into insight. Because the question becomes, is my grudge against so-and-so? Is my identity as such and such worth what I'm going through? Worth how I'm living, my inability to truly live in peace and joy, my inability to have my mind in my hands rather than vice versa. We are run by our minds. Our minds take us to a destination. It's misery, it's competition, it's jealousy, it's anger. I always say thoughts are tickets. You'd never get on a bus or a train or a plane that you didn't know where it was going. Before you buy any ticket, the first thing that you've got to know is, where do you want to go? But our minds, we just allow them to take us into jealousy, competition, misery, depression, anxiety, not enoughness, anger, despair, fear. And we never question whether I should get on this train, get on this plane. And so this is what meditation gives us. Not a conquering of the mind, but a familiarity with the mind and the space between the thoughts, such that there is enough space that we can actually experience the true self. And just lastly, before we go into it, what you'll find is thoughts will come. I'm going to guide you through a meditation, but nonetheless, even as I'm speaking, thoughts will come. That's okay. Don't berate yourself. Don't try to force them away. Don't yell at them. Don't say to yourself, yeah, you can't even meditate. I knew you were useless. Can't even do the spiritual thing. Simply allow yourself to stay focused on the space between the clouds. You can picture a blue sky on a windy day with some wispy clouds. And as the clouds blow across the sky, we have a choice of either hooking our attention into the cloud and following it across the sky. That's what most of us do. We meditate, and there's a smell. There's a smell of maybe some food cooking. And we say, oh, that smells good. Yeah, I'm hungry. I haven't had anything since morning. Is that fresh bread somebody's making? God, I remember when I was in France last summer. They made the best bread. God, that was such a good trip. I really need to plan, going back to France. So, a smell. And here I am in France on a trip I haven't yet taken, but now I'm starting to plan. So this is what happens when we hook ourselves into the thought. The other way to do it is you're looking at the blue sky, the cloud comes, but you keep your clouds that are just going to blow across your awareness. But don't hook yourself into it. Keep focused on that space between them, on the breath, on the moment, and allow them just to blow across, because thoughts will come. Thoughts are not actually what disrupts the meditation. What disrupts the meditation is us hooking ourselves into the thought, ending up in France, and then judging ourselves. God, look at you. You keep thinking about bread. I thought you were on a diet. It was supposed to start today. You're never going to lose the weight. Look at this. You've got 10 minutes to meditate, and here you are thinking about bread. Right? So that disrupts the meditation. A smell can flow across our minds. I remember I was teaching meditation in our ashram in Rishikesh, in a tent that we had set up in the back during our yoga festival. And as I was teaching, it was in the afternoon, and we have a lot of monkeys in Rishikesh. And for some reason in the afternoon, there's a lot more. And I was leading a meditation, and on the top of the cloth tent, these monkeys started jumping. And it wasn't that loud, but every once in a while you would hear, and it was the monkeys jumping, and there were little holes in the tent, and they'd stick their arms into the hole, and if you opened your eyes and you looked up, you would see some furry arms coming in. And it was slightly disruptive, but not a big deal. We were able to just go back into the meditation, and people at their own pace would get disrupted and back, but we were able to keep meditating. And about 10 minutes later, suddenly we heard this bam, 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 bam. And it was the guards we had hired to keep the monkeys away, who were banging on the metal poles that hold up the tents. And suddenly meditation was impossible. And I love that example, and I share it all the time, because the simple disruption of a thought, it happens. It comes, it flows, you come back. But when our inner guard comes in and starts beating us, that's when we no longer can meditate. So allow your eyes to close. Find a position that you can sit in that is comfortable for you. Allow the breath to flow freely. And take a moment and just draw the attention from the outer world to the inner world. You can imagine that you have antennae, like the old TV sets, all over the body, on the brain, on the senses, on our limbs. And most of the time they're focused outward. Simply take those antennae and turn them inward. So we're not dulling our senses. We're simply drawing them in. And allow yourself to become aware of your breath. Do not try to change it by awareness to merge with the breath. And as you exhale, as we began in the yoga class, as you exhale, let go. Let go of a mask that you wear, a role that you play, a personality you wear, an identity you hold. Let go of a responsibility. Allow yourself to just breathe them out, knowing that Mother Earth will absorb them and hold you. And as you exhale and let go, allow each exhalation to get a bit longer and slower. And allow yourself to sink deeply into the core of the self. Keep the awareness on the breath as low in the abdomen as you can. So it fills on the inhalation and releases on the exhalation. And we sink at the end of each out-breath into a deeper and deeper place of the self. Feel that which binds you to the identities, to the roles, to the responsibilities. Feel those chains loosen and break as you exhale and drop deeply into the core of your being. Sinking deeper and deeper with each exhalation. Freer and freer. And as you inhale, allow yourself to breathe in that sacred energy, the energy of creation, the energy of divinity, however you connect to it, the energy of light, the energy of love. Breathe in that divine spirit that connects us all. And as you inhale, feel it. Touch and awaken and fill all of the cells of your being. Letting go of the old with the exhalations, creating more and more space within us. And on the inhalations, bringing in that divine light and spirit of creation. Allow any thoughts that come to just blow across your consciousness, like the clouds across the blue sky on a windy day. Keeping the awareness on the space between. If you'd like to add a simple mantra, you can add a simple mantra of so, hum. So on the inhalation as we bring in the divine light. Hum on the exhalations as we let go of that which is not self. So hum, it means I am that. I am that which is divine, eternal, whole and complete and perfect. I am that. So hum. So hum. For another minute or two, allow yourself to rest in that place in the core of the self, that place at the end of the exhalation, place which is the source of light, the source of love, the source of peace. Feel it within the self. Gently bring the palms of the hands together at chest level and rub them gently against each other. Place your cupped palms over your closed eyes. And open your eyes into the palms of your hands. Slowly drop your hands. First of all, this fear of lack. It's something that we all have. The majority of us have it. If you've been acculturated or indoctrinated into this world, we have it. We have it due to media and marketing, tragically. It's how to sell things. If I want you to buy what I have to sell, first I have to convince you that you're lacking in some way without it. And of course, we live in a free market. Advertisers are allowed to do whatever they want. I wouldn't dream of censorship. But the dilemma becomes that even though we don't buy everything that's advertised, what we do buy is the underlying message, which is, you are somehow lacking. And whether it's because you don't have this car or these clothes or this job or this mobile phone or this house, or just on a general amorphous, pervasive sense of lack, we buy it. And of course, money is the solution because that which people are selling, you need money to buy. And we live in a society where tragically is actually even trying to sell us happiness and peace. I mean, that's what marketing tends to be rooted in these days. Whatever I'm selling, I'm going to sell it because I'm going to convince you it's going to make you happy. We sell youth. We sell, agelessness. We sell beauty. We sell all of this. And so regardless of how much money you have, it's never enough. Because tragically, you can't buy it. I mean, you can't buy happiness, you can't buy peace. And so no matter how much money you have to spend on that endeavor, it's never enough because you can never buy it. So you find yourself, regardless of whether you are lower middle class or super wealthy, you're on actually the same treadmill of spending your money to buy something that your money just can't buy because it doesn't exist there. You can buy luxury, you can buy convenience, you can buy comfort, you can buy glittery, glistening things, you can buy all of that, but you cannot buy happiness and peace. So that's what tends to be very, very pervasive, which is why so many of us move through the world with this issue with money, because I need money to buy what I need, which is, in most cases, something to make me feel happier or more peaceful. Very few of us are living actually at a place where the scarcity is, I don't know where my next meal is going to come from. Obviously, if you are living at that place, I mean, we look at just, Maslow's hierarchy of needs or any spiritual understanding of the world. And of course, the reason that we do so much logistic work in feeding people and healing, doing free medical programs and giving free medical treatment and giving education, because yes, you need that. If you don't know where your next meal is going to come from, if you don't have a roof over your head and it's the rainy season or it's cold, it's going to be very difficult for you to experience real happiness and peace. Not impossible by any means. Go to the Himalayas, there's saints and sages living in caves with none of that. But in general, it's hard. But most of us are not actually quite at that level. The sense of scarcity is something that we have been programmed to have. And it's one of the most insidious aspects of programming. And so the first and most important piece here is you need to work with the programming in your own mind around that. First of all, realize you're not going to be able to buy happiness or peace, and so it simply becomes food to eat, a roof over the head. Not that that roof is going to make you happier than this roof, but that car is going to make you happier than this car. That mobile will make you more peaceful than this mobile. And what that does is it frees up an incredible amount of space, literally, to experience peace in the moment. The other very, very important aspect I wanted to mention here, as you talk about, bringing in prosperity and connecting to that, is abundance. When we speak about abundance and prosperity, there is a myth going around much of this culture that somehow abundance and prosperity on the deepest level is about accumulating things, and that through proper meditation you can do that and you should do that, and that if you just learn to meditate the right way, you too can open your eyes to find a mound of money right in front of you. And if you open your eyes to a meditation and there isn't a mound of money, or the job of your dreams, or the house of your dreams, or the life of your dreams, that somehow you're meditating wrong. The abundance and the prosperity that meditation gives us is an experience that my cup is overflowing from within. It is not, and that's the abundance that the spiritual traditions talk about that have been, I think, very tragically misunderstood. Yes, through meditation, through spiritual practice, we experience abundance, we experience prosperity, because we are full. Not because the job of our dreams lands in our lap, or a mound of money is right in front of us. But what does happen is you become aligned with the flow of the universe. And so rather than rowing your boat upstream, you're rowing it downstream. And the universe is there to support you. Support does not mean you're going to be the CEO of a company. It doesn't mean you're going to be a millionaire. Support means your karmic package in this birth, what you have come onto earth to learn, to experience, to unfold, to awaken to, the universe is going to support you in that. And for some people, that unfoldment is most conducive to happening in a situation of wealth and success. For some people, a situation of poverty actually ends up being the most conducive to that. For some people it's health, for some people it's sickness, for some people it's success, for some people it's failure. For some people it's gain, for some it's loss. The universe will support you doesn't mean the universe is going to give you a mansion. It means the universe is going to help you peel back the layers of you. Because at the core, soul, spirit, consciousness, we're one. But we all have different layers covering that. And those layers that need to be peeled back so that we can actually accept that beautiful opportunity from the universe to merge into the truth of ourselves, which is love, which is consciousness, which is spirit, which is light. Those layers are made of different things. And so have faith in that process. Have faith in your process. Have faith in yourself. And remember that being aligned with the universe does not mean that it's going to come in the form of money. So don't judge those moments as the moments when, yeah, you're doing it right, and the moments when the money's not coming as somehow the moments you're not doing it right. Check within. How are you in alignment with yourself? How are you following meditation? Those are the things to judge by. Not is your bed made of gold or are you sleeping on a mattress on the floor? Because there's a lot of people sleeping on a lot of beds made of gold who need to take pills to fall asleep at night. And that is not success by any definition I know. So pull yourself out of that and into the inner alignment. Yes?
I have a question. First, earlier, I think you said that one of the goals in meditation... Hi. I think earlier you said one of the goals in meditation is to come to this experience of like the source of light and peace, right? And like, so you're trying to get to that place. I have kind of like an honest question.
That's okay.
I'm trying to understand, like from my experience, like what if I feel the source of light and peace in my life almost all the time?
Fantastic.
Like whether I'm meditating or not, like, and I'm not, like honestly, and I'm trying to understand why do I feel that way.
Well, look, because that is the truth of who you are. Did everybody hear his question? Did people in the back hear the question? Raise your hand if you didn't hear the question. Okay, he said, what if I feel that source of light and peace all the time?
Almost all.
Almost all the time, whether I'm meditating or not. That is your true self. We have been created not just by the Creator, but of the Creator. That creative source is within us. When we talk about liberation, when we talk about whatever term we use, moksha, nirvana, liberation, heaven, whatever it is, it's connecting back with the truth of who we are. And the truth of who we are is divinity, which is that creative source. We are creating, not exclusively. We are creating with the universe. If you think about a drop of water from the ocean, well, under a microscope, that drop of water is ocean and is indistinguishable from ocean. Now, of course, you can't surf it the way you can surf on the ocean. A drop can't sustain life the way the ocean can sustain life. But at the core, it is ocean. And so that experience of the source, yeah, that is who you are. Now, of course, we're not creating the universe, but we're certainly creating our universe. We're creating this world around us, our own world. Absolutely. And energetically, the world around us. We now have evidence neurologically that you can read people's brainwaves by a machine that doesn't even touch their heads, which to me is just extraordinarily exciting. Because what it means is those thoughts, those feelings, those beliefs that I thought just existed in my scalp actually are able to be read as brainwaves by a machine that's not even touching me, which means it's literally impacting the world. We are not just energetic receivers, we're energetic transmitters. And so we are a source. Look, think about it for a moment. As I had said before, our thoughts are tickets. So they take us, we have a thought, and we can end up miserable or we can end up joyful. Well, where did that joy come from? Where did that misery come from? I've created it, I've manufactured it. Somebody tells me, oh God, so-and-so was really talking nonsense about you. That's just a sound wave. It's entered my brain. Now I have a thought. The thought says, oh my God, who the hell do they think they are? How dare they after everything I've done for them? My God. That thought, which I've now created in my mind, is manufacturing, literally, biochemically, electrically, misery in my body. You can talk about it hormonally, you can talk about it neurotransmitterly, you can talk about it on any level. Whether you want to talk about what it's doing in my adrenal glands, I mean, we could go through the whole body of how I'm literally manufacturing misery. Alternatively, wow, that person must be in pain. They must be suffering. That's why they would say things. I mean, people don't say things that are hurtful unless they are experiencing hurt within them. Can I feel compassion for that person? Can I feel love for that person? Can I drop into a place within me which is love and hold that person in that place? Well, again, now, biochemically, neuroelectrically, magnetically, because that's what these machines outside my head reads, I am creating love. We are manufacturing it. So yeah, we are the source. So that's fantastic. Yes. Okay. Here's what I want to do. Actually, we only have time for one more. So what I want to do, if it's okay, is listen to 3 and see whether I can quickly weave them into one answer. I can't guarantee it's doable, but should it be doable, let's.
First, I want to say thank you for coming. I saw you when you came right after the election, and you said you were on an ecumenical council, and it was so wonderful to hear you speak that night. So I had to come back, especially to hear a woman speak on meditation. So often it's men that belong to that, but it's just beautiful to hear your voice and your insight in this beautiful place. My question is has to do with impermanence and the idea of our divinity, or so-called divinity, in the life of a meditator through the eyes of non-dual and non-dualism. So my question is, how do we deal with, to me the idea of impermanence is deeply sad, and that's what I try to overcome in my meditation. But I wanted to see what you're
The
saying.
impermanence, did you just say?
The idea of impermanence, it helps us to deepen our joy, and also at the same time, it's so sad.
Yes. Okay.
First of all, thank you for doing this, and such a beautiful yoga class just prior to this, so feeling really grateful. So thank you so much for that. Yes.
Thank you
Yeah,
so
no,
much.
yeah.
That's okay. That the acoustics are just in such a way that the sound doesn't come this direction very easily. Yes.
Sure, yeah. So I was saying, I sometimes feel disillusioned because I find myself in this place of privilege now. In San Francisco, it's a beautiful place, beautiful people. But every time I go back to India, I see I'm just overwhelmed with just the degree of poverty, of suffering. And yeah, I just have a tough time reconciling that. And what I do, I feel just overwhelmed with it.
One more behind you.
Hello, I'm a parent, and I also work with parents. And so my question would be somewhat related to upbringing. What can we be doing, teaching? What are your recommendations for how we are raising children so that we move a little bit closer in this direction? Not in midlife, but from the beginning.
Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to weave them together into one last answer. That which we have in every moment, whether it's our life, whether it's our loved ones, our breath, our homes, our cars, our money, our privilege, is all impermanent. Whether we lose it overnight due to a fire, an earthquake, an illness, a stock market crash, whether we've lost it from one lifetime to another lifetime. Because ultimately in the ultimate scheme of things, one lifetime to another is pretty much the same as one evening to another. And this is really the core teaching, is how do I stay connected to that which is permanent? You know, there's a very core prayer in India that we don't have time to go into now, but the last line is, and God, lead us from death to immortality. And, well, in the first two, lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, and death to immortality. And it's not saying keep this physical body alive forever. Obviously, the rishis and the sages and the saints knew that matter degenerates and how it degenerates. And it's a prayer of, oh God, let me identify with that which is eternal. Lead me from identification with that which is impermanent. Lead me from identification with my physical body, with my relationships, with my titles, with my prestige, with my beauty. Lead me from identification with that is constantly changing. Some of it imperceptible, some of it perceptible. Into an identification with that which is permanent. That which is unchanging. Soul, spirit, consciousness. And it doesn't mean that we don't love that which is impermanent. A sunset. Right? What can be more impermanent? It's a few minutes. And that we don't do as much as we can to take care of that. Whether it's our own bodies, whether it's our loved ones, whether it's poor people. Because the impermanence, ultimately, does not, and this is worth repeating, it does not exempt us from fulfilling our duty in the impermanent. So an awareness of its impermanence does not exempt us from doing our duty within us. Simply knowing this is all a drama, simply knowing I'm soul, spirit, consciousness, does not exempt us from bending down to help someone who has fallen, from feeding someone who is hungry, from helping someone who is sick, from giving all of our love to those around us, from taking care of our body temple, simply knowing it's impermanent does not exempt us from doing our duty. Our duty is on the level of the impermanent. And so the challenge, the beautiful challenge, is actually, can you live in both places simultaneously, inside? Can you be doing your duty, connected with love, with compassion, with sincerity, with commitment, while remembering that on the highest, deepest level, we are soul, spirit, we were never born, we're never dying. The body is in a constant state of change. Eventually it's going to go through the big change of leaving and getting a new one. But even before that, it's constantly changing. I'm losing skin cells every moment, gaining new ones. I mean, literally, it's how forensic science works. We're literally leaving pieces of us behind wherever we go, gaining new pieces. And then lastly, just to quickly weave in children. Keep them connected to the impermanent in nature. The dirt, the trees, the flower, the sunshine, the rain, the wind. Yes, it's impermanent, but it's nature. It is us. That dirt, those flowers, that water, that is what we are made of, those 5 elements. We are sadly moving away from the elements, which is why we're moving away from ourselves. As we move more and more into a digital device screen world, we're separating ourselves literally from the elements of who we are, from the touch of another being, from looking into each other's eyes, from having our hands in the dirt, from being in the trees, from drinking clean water and swimming in rivers and being in the sunshine and whatever it may be. And as we disconnect ourselves from literally that which we are made of in the impermanent, of course, we become more and more disconnected. So as much in nature, physical, actual nature as possible, with an awareness. I wouldn't so much bring impermanence into kids, that's kind of a difficult aspect to grasp, but simply the distinction between the physical body and the true self. So the physical body that keeps changing, the physical body that's got a pimple, the physical body that didn't get picked for the baseball team, the physical body that's chubbier than it would like to be or skinnier than it would like to be. But it's changing every day. And with kids, that's even more obvious. That compared to the truth of who they were. Look, sweetheart, you've been saying I since you were 2. Since you were 3, but now you say I, you're 10. You're going to say I. Look at that. Well, who's that I? Here's a picture of you when you were 2. You said I then. Now you say I at 10. Who's I? And it's sort of a fun game. They're not necessarily going to grab it. They may. But simply putting them on the thought track of there is an I that is constant, even as the body keeps changing. Show them pictures of you. Here's what I looked like when I was a kid. Here's what I looked like pregnant with you. Here's what I looked like when you were a baby. Now here's how I look now. I've been saying I the whole time too. That I doesn't change as the body changes. And that is who you are. And it's not your scores on your exam. It's not the college you get into. It's not the teams you get picked for. It's not the color of your skin or the color of your hair. It's that which is you that is always worthy, always perfect. Whether your room is clean or messy, you helped me with the dishes, you didn't help me with the dishes. That is absolutely independent of what you do and how you perform. Because what our world needs today is not children who are geared and programmed and taught and sent to just perform at higher and higher levels. We're creating machines to do that. By the time the kids are that age, we'll have machines to do whatever we're training them to do. What we need are humans. And humans who are connected with what humanity is. Humans who bend down to help. Humans whose eyes tear at the pain of another. Humans who are the source of love and light and creation. Because then whatever comes in front of them, which we have no idea what it's going to be in 30 or 40 years, they will be able to respond. And that's what we